Good Souls-like, Lies of P has a few different endings,
Scorpion skin is gas.
each
Yeah, I
with
bought it last
cryptic
night.
details to uncover and explain. The ending you get is determined by your choices
I got
in
the
game
good ending.
and the lies
There's
or
bad
truths
ending,
you tell.
goodish, and
in
then
this
there's
video,
true
I will be
ending.
going through each of the three endings and explaining
Beat the game.
them,
I beat it last
from
night.
the straightforward facts to the obscure details to even the sequel hints. I hope you enjoy, and if you do, feel free to subscribe to see more content like
Yeah,
this.
the ending with the
Obviously, be warned for
cutscene or
spoilers.
whatever had like
In
Wizard
all
of
the
Oz or
endings,
something.
we fight our way up the Alchemist's stronghold for a climactic battle with the head of the Alchemists, Simon Pistris Manus. Simon is the main cause for the petrification disease spreading throughout
Yeah,
Prague.
we know that.
He used the resulting ergo to try to become a new evolved life form that would usher in a world without lies. He definitely had deep-seated
without
issues
lies.
from childhood, but I don't want to delve further into that here since he is the same in all the endings. His story and the trials of Krat are just the backdrop for the more real or personal story going on with our character and Geppetto. After defeating Manus and traveling down the elevator, there is a chance to get any one of three different endings. Two of them are extremely similar, and one is more distinct and darker.
Yeah.
I will start with that last one. The ending is titled Real Boy.
Real
They all
Boy.
lived happily
It's the
ever
bad
after.
ending.
This ending can be acquired regardless of what choices you make throughout the game. All you have to do is, here at the end, choose to give Geppetto your heart when he asks for it.
Like it was so
He will then
obvious
take
that'd be
your
bad
heart out
ending.
and put it into a body he brought along in
Am
his
I
box,
watching
which
the ending
will then
explained to Liza
revive
P?
as a kind of evil or destructive Carlo. Carlo was the name of Geppetto's real son and the
Yep.
name of the writer of Pinocchio, and his heart is
Wait,
the one
what?
that powers
I didn't know. I didn't realize that. It's the writer. Wait, what?
son and the name of the writer of Pinocchio.
I didn't know that.
And his heart
It was the
is
name of the
one
writer of
that
Pinocchio.
powers your puppet body in game. We then see the new revived Carlo murder everyone still remaining at Hotel Krat at the
Murder
behest
everybody.
of Geppetto. All of our friends and companions are slaughtered in cold blood. Then
I'm a
they are
real boy.
replaced with lifeless puppets who all exist to
What?
serve us.
That
or
happens after you beat the game at bad ending? That's so fucked. Everyone's a puppet at the hotel?
replace- All of our friends and
Oh,
companions
that's so
are
bad.
slaughtered in cold blood.
That's so
Then
dark.
They're replaced with lifeless puppets who all exist to serve us, or Carlo. And even in this ending, when Geppetto is reunited with his long-dead
That's so
son,
dark.
the one who he kind of abandoned in life, he goes away again. He leaves a letter saying that he will make Krat safe for us, talking about the
Sure.
petrification disease like it's a minor nuisance. This ending is very obviously
Who does not care about
bad-coded.
that
The new
petrification?
Carlo seems to be a puppet slave for Geppetto, despite being called a real boy, the dream of the original Pinocchio from the fairy tale. This Carlo kills the companions his heart grew to trust and work with, all because he was asked or told to by Geppetto, an absentee father who we see in memories the real Carlo hated.
I don't care if an old man like
Oh, that's what that stuff was referencing.
We might get a human body of some kind in this ending, or otherwise become
was talking
a
about
real
Carlo
person
and
in some
Geppetto.
way.
I had
But
a
it is
small
clear
feeling it was,
we are
but
really
I didn't
just
understand
a
it.
puppet dancing on someone else's string, namely Geppetto's. Sophia remarks at the end, asking us,
Is this truly the future you wanted?
Damn.
fair to say this
the
is a
maidens?
bad ending.
You mean the
And it
maidens?
does give us the post-credits cutscene, but I want to wait to cover each ending before delving into that. So we saw what happens
Sophia?
when you give your heart to Geppetto. If, on the other hand, you refuse his request, you can get one of two different endings.
No more maidens.
If
All
you answer
puppets.
most of your choices throughout the game,
Yeah, this
by
is what
telling
I
the truth,
chose. This is the ending
you
I
will
chose.
get what I want to call the good-ish ending, titled Free from the
Good-ish.
Puppet String. And just a note, lots of the online guides
They
say
still
different
think,
things
bruh,
about how
we'll
to
lock
get this
in.
and the next ending, claiming you need to always tell the truth or always lie or other requirements that I don't think are true.
Yeah, I
know
always
you
told the
can get
truth.
the next ending by lying only most of the time, you don't need to always lie, so I think you can get this ending by telling the truth just most of the time. And
Wait,
probably
so
not
for the
killing
true
Sophia
ending you
when
get, you have to lie?
she asks, but I'm less certain about that requirement. So once you refuse Geppetto, he will release the nameless puppet on you. We learn from its ergo that the nameless puppet was the first puppet made by the old man that was mounted with a P organ.
Yeah,
But
I thought
because it
so
was
for sure.
destructive, it was not chosen for the boy's body and sealed away. Geppetto takes it out as a last resort to get the heart from us. In his dialogue we hear during the fight, Geppetto reveals that he gave us his son Carlo's heart. He didn't bind us to the Grand Covenant,
Yeah,
the set of rules
makes
that
sense.
most puppets have to follow, so that the heart would grow while having freedom. This was so it could one day be used to revive the real Carlo, and that he wouldn't be burdened by the Grand Covenant, I assume. We learn earlier in the game that puppets are powered by ergo, which can come from people, especially those afflicted by the petrification disease. Sometimes a human ego can awaken within a puppet, especially
just
if
like
the puppet
Weapon of
looks
Paul and
like the
Dina.
original person. Geppetto likely tried this with our puppet body, but as he points out, we never got Carlo's
It
memories.
is called Lies of P for
Though
Reason.
if
Yeah,
we did,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe I am supposed to be lying, but I was like, I'm gonna just choose whatever I feel like is right for the
we
situation.
would probably hate Geppetto anyways, so probably not too good of a plan for him. While we don't have his memories, Geppetto remarks how he did inherit Carlo's personality, since
I suppose Carlo was mischievous.
Yeah, because if they make the puppet,
that's not enough.
And it
So
looks like the
Geppetto
person,
wants
it
to
can
use
develop,
Carlo's heart, a whole mess of ergo, and the
the
Arm of
feelings and
God
stuff.
artifact to make the new psycho killer Carlo we see in the bad ending. And if that's his ideal version, Geppetto probably doesn't want the real Carlo back anyways. Blinded by his grief and possibly just a selfish person in general, he just wants the puppet version of Carlo he sees in his head, one who will come live as a family with him and do what he says as his father.
that is
Once
crazy.
the nameless puppet gets to phase 2, we anime slice its head off,
Top
and
tier
it
bitch for
erupts
sure.
in golden ergo,
He has
losing the
lost his
strings
damn
Geppetto
mind.
controlled.
I had a
over.
feeling because I was like,
Once we beat
because
its
when we beat the
second phase,
boss,
we
well,
get a
the guy I
cutscene
thought
where-
was the final boss, he was like, "Watch out for Geppetto." I'm like, "Oh God, no way."
It gets to
And
be
when the moment the guy said that, when Roman Simon said that, I was like, "Oh yeah, this guy is in the final
this in
boss."
combat lane. It is about to stab us through the heart, but Geppetto stops it. The puppet is destructive, so it just wants to body us. But Geppetto can't let any harm come to
To the
Carlo's
heart, yeah.
or he might have to
That's why.
actually
That's why I was
face
like, okay, that's probably why he stepped in the way. That's stupid though.
the fact that his
But
son is
whatever.
dead and stop running away from it. We then turn into Giga Chad and destroy the nameless puppet's core. So far, all of this has been exactly like what we will see in the next ending. The differences start as Geppetto keels over and we go to support him. In this ending, as we hold the dying Geppetto, he says,
No. You're just useless.
He said that, and then my game ended. I was like, "Are you what?"
then he dies. This ending
Like,
concludes here,
what?
save for the post-credit scene we will get to later. Geppetto's final line will make more sense
It
when
didn't-
we look at the final ending.
It didn't feel satisfying because he stepped in the way like he was trying to atone for his sins or something, and then he just calls me that. I'm like, what?
But in short,
And then credits
it is
rolled,
about
I'm like,
how he views us as nothing more
what?
than puppets. Puppets are supposed to never lie, and in this playthrough, we tell the truth more than we lie. So we basically act like a puppet. We are free from Geppetto's strings, as the name of the ending suggests, but if we want to really see what it's like to leave behind the shackles of puppetdom, we must look at the final ending.
So for this
The
final, you
last
have
ending
to
to Lies
lie.
of P is a rhyme to the game's title. It's called Rise of P. You can get this ending like the previous one by refusing to give Geppetto your heart. The difference is that throughout your playthrough, you need to have lied most of the time.
Damn, I
And
didn't
you
know
likely
that.
need to have given Sophia peace when she asked, though again, I'm not as 100% sure on that. Once this ending begins, it is the same as the free from the puppet string ending up until
'Cause after you give Sophia peace, apparently your hair turns white after this part.
that. Once
Meaning
this
you're
ending
getting the true
begins,
ending.
it is the same as the free from the puppet string ending up until Geppetto's death. Here, he still saves us from Nameless, but once we are holding him, something else happens. The camera shows a tear running down our cheek. Geppetto recognizes this and says,
Sorry.
I was expecting him to say that, but he ain't say that for me. He called me a damn puppet. I'm like, bruh.
before dying. I took this to be about how the lying throughout the game has made us more human. It has caused our heart to grow to the point that we are essentially a real human who can feel.
I didn't
human
lie because I
emotions.
figured lying would just get
In
you
this
a bad
final
ending.
moment, either our character developed an attachment for Geppetto, or Carlo's heart moves within us and cries at his father's death. Even if he didn't like him, Carlo might still be moved to see Geppetto.
Damn, I probably would have got
pass.
the. I probably would have got this
Geppetto's
ending.
words recognize this.
If I
They
lied.
show that he now sees us as his son, Carlo. Even if we may not have his memories, we have become a real human who can feel, and we feel his death like a human would.
We're watching the ending
Then we
explained.
get another cutscene before the credits. Apparently,
Now, this
there's a
part
ready-made Sophia
confused
puppet.
me, but,
Maybe
like,
not too weird.
after I get off stream last night, it kind of made sense. Basically, because at the start of the game, She revived me using Ergo. Now I'm reviving her using Ergo.
considering Manus was kind of obsessed with it.
I think.
And we give Ergo to that puppet,
Yeah.
returning the favor from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, that's why I
Sophia
figured.
gave us Ergo. The Sophia puppet
'Cause
wakes
she was the one
up
that woke
as
me
we
up.
pass out, and she says,
It's so good to see you.
this echoes her first words to us at the game's beginning.
I'm so happy to see you.
After the credits, we can explore and find a note
Bro,
from
what?
her.
What do you mean?
But
It makes
before we
sense.
get to
At the
that,
start of the game,
there's
she's the one that
post-credit
woke me
scene
up.
to discuss.
Game looks complex.
After the
It's not
credits,
complex at
we
all.
find the man who called himself Giangio on a train. Giangio is the name of
I guess
one
this
of the
part is
characters
DLC.
in the original Pinocchio story. But we see here that the character is actually called Paracelsus, and he is communicating with someone from an outside organization. Philippus Paracelsus, or Paracelsus, is the name of a real-world Swiss physician, alchemist, and philosopher from the 1500s. When we first met Giangio, he pretended to be an alchemist pretending to be a pharmacist, and he talks about how the dose of a
already know
substance
the
determines if it's a medicine or a poison, which is an idea attributed to the real Paracelsus
Toxicology.
in our world. So this basically confirms the name as a reference. The org he talks to has an interest in kinds of humanity and eternal life. They mention us as a kind of brother, or new humanity. Maybe we
'Cause I'm
are
a
a new
puppet
kind
turned
of
human.
immortal or eternal being, this new human puppet life form that we have become. And this might be a reach, but his hair color is a bit like ours after being influenced by Sophia.
I guess it kind of is.
And Sophia mentions
like
her
whitish.
powers being time-related, which would tie into the themes about eternity. On the call, the voice notes that
We'll have to get his arm back anyway.
which could be a reference to our mechanical arm.
That's
That's
what I
the
was
first
thinking.
most obvious one, but I think that doesn't make sense, since we learn that the Legion arm is a creation of Geppetto and modified by Vanini. It is more likely that the Eternals are talking about the arm of God,
Oh.
the item we get when we defeat Manus.
I didn't know I got
This
that.
item let Mr. Eugenics, in some way, summon a godlike being
No, that
in
makes
the
sense.
sky, and its description talks about being a mysterious relic
Arm
even
of
to the
God.
alchemists. So, this mysterious organization of Eternals is likely interested in this God arm, and apparently they had it before if they want to get the arm back. Who or whatever that God is, this organization is likely closer to it than anything else.
I think this is gonna be
in Croc,
DLC probably.
except maybe for one new character. Paracelsus ends his cutscene saying he will find another key to the organization,
Dorothy.
Dorothy?
and then the camera focuses on an obscured book.
Wizard of
The design
Oz.
shown is the first edition cover of The Wizard of Oz, which has Dorothy as the main character. Then, in a shot on the rooftops of Krot, we see someone walking in ruby slippers before they click their heels
No
3
way,
times.
bro. It's
This is
Pinocchio. What do you
another
expect?
reference to Oz, where Dorothy must acquire
wouldn't
the
think
ruby
Wizard-
slippers
yeah, it's
and
referenced.
click her heels
That's why I was
3
like, is this
times
DLC?
to return to her home of Kansas. Maybe this Dorothy was scouting Krot out and is now returning to her home, which I'm assuming isn't plain old Kansas, but maybe that's her base of operations.
What is
This
this?
could be
The
a
ending's
reference to a
explained.
DLC or a sequel, where more fairy tale characters
I'd hope
come
it's
into
a
play
sequel. I
as
wanna play
part of
another.
the world of Eternals. A
It'd be
YouTube
sick if it
comment I
was a
saw
sequel.
pointed out that Tin Man, one of the other main characters of Wizard of Oz,
Liza P's
was
ending
looking for a
explained.
heart, and a metal puppet with a heart, like the character we play as, could fit as that character. Maybe Dorothy was scoping us out to possibly get us to join her crew. We don't know what form this will take, but with the Eternals organization out there plotting something, there's likely some grander conflict that we will learn about, and
She gonna
maybe
do
be
Hugh
pulled
you to
into,
death?
whether that's by
don't
Dorothy,
know.
Paracelsus, or someone else.
Finished Liza P, yeah,
There is
finished last
definitely
night.
some greater story that is being hinted at, but we will have to wait and see to learn what's
Are
really
we gonna
going
watch Show
on.
on Release review? Yeah.
And to wrap things up, the game lets us keep playing after the cutscenes and credits. We can see that everyone in the hotel is thankful that the trials of the game are over, and they're all real people in this ending, not puppets. Sophia leaves a note marveling that an ergo puppet can become a new form of human, that's us, and she says she will stay away for the time being. We get the option to
Why
jam-
though? Why is she staying away though? People can have a second life. Become requires more time for people to find out about. Why would she stay away though? I don't get that part.
That's us, and she says she will stay away for the time being. We get the option to jam out on the piano in the hotel, and
I
we
guess
can
she's
also
staying
find
back at that
another
place,
letter
the castle
left by
place.
Paracelsus at his old location near the gold coin.
Bad
feature.
memories or something? I
He
don't know.
expresses excitement at our development, and he talks about
Oh wait, realistically, it wouldn't really make sense if she came to the hotel because they weren't ever able to see her except me. Realistically,
meeting on the eternal line of time. He signs off.
She was
"P.P.,"
never actually at
which
the
confirms
hotel.
that
It
he
was
is
just like
named
a
after
spiritual
the
projection or
real
whatever.
Philippus Paracelsus. The note about time again makes me think of Sophia when she talked about how her power is related to time, and this makes me think that the hair connection isn't so far-fetched. So there we have each of the endings
Damn.
of Lies of P explained.
That's interesting.
Let me know in the comments if you have
Game
any
was
more
beautiful
questions
though.
about
I
the
definitely
endings
enjoyed
that
it.
have
It was
been
really
left
fun,
unanswered.
even though some of
If
the
you like
bosses
this content,
pissed me
you can
off.
subscribe and
But it was
or
fun,
support
though.
me on Patreon. Thanks to my patrons for their support.
Damn,
Thanks.
I hope that that ending right here with the Dorothy Wizard of Oz stuff is like, I don't know, probably DLC or it's either a DLC or a new game, but we have to wait and see. I hope it's a new game though. That'd be fun. There'll be more stuff to play. All right, we're gonna play a tiny bit of MK, and then we're gonna play some Yakuza. Tiny bit. And by a tiny bit, I mean like I don't know. I don't know. Probably like 30 minutes or something. Where's the trailer for the thing?